Hey people, first time talking over a Vale-City arcade video. Awesome game and I pretty much did everything there is to be done in it. Well, on the default difficulty. Anyway, today I am going to explain how to play and win in this game, and you should definitely give it a shot since it is free. The tips here will be useful for Vale-City arcade, but the gameplay principles can be applied to the original Vale-City 2, just with slower leveling. Both games were made by Narukami92, with the art being from Vale-City himself. Both of them are on Deviantart. The first thing is the most fundamental, so integral that it is printed onto the UI down there. Belly counters butt counters boobs, and boobs counters belly, and each character has one of these types. But what does that even mean? Well, when countering you do extra damage, and countering too much even stuns by breaking defense of your opponent. To accelerate defense breaking, there are specific skills that break regardless of type. Having your defense broken is the best way to lose a character. There are two types of damage in this game from regular RPG Maker, mapped from physical and magic to normal and special. Both do the same thing, but their values for defense and attack are separated, and most buffs only buff one of the two, and some even reduce one to increase the other. So in this game, you can't really do anything useful on an empty stomach, so every character has skills to eat some food or multiples of a food. Almost all characters can eat all foods, but their hunger determines how much of it they are able to eat at once. Eating something grants you belly power, health and XP, along with a buff sometimes. Belly power is used to power all abilities, but also the more of it you have at the moment, the stronger your attack is at the cost of reduced speed. Speaking of speed, it is on the top of your screen, and shows you who is next up in the turn order. Characters with better speed go first, and characters with ridiculous speed can even go multiple times in a turn. After each battle you can win or lose going back to the receptionist, if you lose and assembling a new team, or if you win you go to the lobby to prepare for a new battle. Now for the lobby, this is your pre-fight preparation room. You can buy equipment, food, pills, and get skills. Whenever you finish a fight, your team is also fully healed, including their hunger, but their belly power is preserved between fights. This is where you can spend the skill points you gained from XP during a battle. Each level you gain grants you 2 skill points. So a normal character has a total of 11 skill points to spend, as all characters start with 3, and you should always remember to use them before the first fight. Each fight one gives you some money, and you should first think about spending some on food to fuel the fight. There are tons of strategies on the type of food you should buy, but if you are confident in your early game, buy the cheap, disgusting cake to stuff the heck out of your team for tons of XP. But for the fight itself, the cake is terrible, and you should think about carb-heavy food like pasta for extra HP, or some food like normal cake for offense and defense boosts if you need them. Next up, we have the pills sponsored by F-Corp. These things are pretty cheap and very useful. I always recommend having a few hunger pills in your back pocket to refresh someone. The other pills can give various boosts, but there is one that can fully define a strategy. The aptly named Ultimate Pill, granting you massive power at the cost of all your speed. Equipment is here in the in-arena Hot Topic store. There's lots of stuff here, but it mostly comes down to more attack, more defense with 90% of the items, so just pick up what you think you are missing. The last few special items are on the bottom. Shoes make you go faster, and on some can even make you take multiple actions on a turn. Clocks reduce your ability costs, glasses make you miss less, and the luck. It's luck, I don't really know if it helps really. It may do something with giving you more crits or chance to hit, but I did not take a look at the code, it's hard to know. There is also the engineer in the side room that also sells legendary equipment. I won't show you this since Manuel really does not like her for some reason. Anyway, don't rush giving her money at the start of the game. First focus on getting good, and when you realize you don't need all of the money you gain, hand some to her. Now speaking on how to maximize a character. First we need to think about the role of character in the team as a whole. Is your girl a tank? Well, let's see how we can make her the best tank she can be. First, the skills. Here the most important one is taunt and aggro, both doing the same thing, but taunt working always while aggro can fail sometimes. Aggro is useful for teams without a very low HP glass cannon, so you can split the damage more evenly while still tanking. With that done, the next important one is break resistance. If you are getting hit by lots of attacks, some of them will counter you, and you really don't want your defense to break on a tank. With those two you are pretty much set on skills, and anything else you get that makes you more defensive is just more on top. Some examples of defensive skills you can pick up are extra life, belly defense, better healing from food, and the perfect form to just top it off. Remember, speed is not to be neglected on tanks, since it makes you eat faster too, regening more HP from food alone. Speaking on food, I always recommend a carb-heavy diet for your tanks, like a sandwich, or 20 of them for good measure since they boost life. Other foods are just generic ones that heal loads of HP and give defensive stats like noodles. For equipment again, boost life, as this is the only way to get flat life that is amplified by the percent from food and skills. Finally, if you can afford it, shoes for speed, but while speed on a tank is great, it is more important on an attacker. So let's talk about offense and making a true monster of damage. Step 1. What damage do you do? Find the best skill your character has and check its type. Is it normal or special? Both are valid, but only focus one, maximizing one single type, taking tactician or specialist to reduce the other. From other skills, you can pick up various ways to increase your damage, but also picking up at least one to be able to survive is useful. For example, aggro reduction to help avoid damage or some evasion. As for the rest, decide on your final build. Will you maximize your damage with perfect form, pills, or some buff stacking? All attackers have at least one of these. Some can have all of them, but never pick all of them and just focus on one. You will also need skill points to buy some of the most powerful skills, or unlock them via transformation, for example flying attacks with some dragon or bird characters. If available, you should almost always pick reduced BP usage. It's just good if you are using expensive flashy attacks, and incredible with perfect form, bit less for pills since they give 1000 BP and don't really care. Food is extremely important for attackers. Well, it's important for everyone, but attackers don't really need to look at their HP since they can always munch on a tank's food if it comes down to it. Their food should grant good amounts of BP and one attack buff that matches the attack they are using. For equipment, get the most damage you can for the money you have, combined with some crit if available. If perfect form, get a claw, and if you can, get shoes for everything else pretty much. Sometimes I get glasses, but only if they avoid my attacks enough times to truly piss me off. Finally, we have the support. Now your team may not really need a support, it may just have 2 tanks, 1 attacker, or any other combination. But you will always have one strongest attacker that will handle most things and someone weaker that can handle generic stuff like feeding pills, healing someone with an apple if they fall in battle. A support does this role, but there are some fighters that specialize to do this specifically. Their skills are various buffs and even debuffs. For example, Helping Hand gives you pretty much double damage for the next attack with your attacker, or something like a debuff like Belly Dance that reduces the chance to hit for their team. And of course, various force feed skills that can feed your own team with various foods, giving them everything that food can give outside of their own turn, allowing them to focus on attacking or defending, and not using their own actions on just eating all the time after each attack. An important role of a support is also to finish off a low HP opponent. Marked in red, a simple weak attack will probably finish them, especially if they used a red apple to heal to just 1 HP. This is important since the full attack of your buffed up attacker is wasted, as overkill does nothing, so a weak attack from your support is good enough. The food for support should pretty much just be whatever they use for their feeding skill if they have it, or disgusting cake for grinding XP. Buffing their own damage, life, and defense is not very useful, as those foods will better serve a focused attacker or tank. As for items, don't spend too much trying to buff their stats, as that money can be used on others, but speed and cost reduction again is still perfect if you can afford it. Now you know how to build each type and have a baseline powerful team, but how do you really use them? Well, this is where we get into tactics, and here you need to ask yourself some questions. First, do you have a glass cannon on your team? If you do, your top priority is to protect them with your tank and even your support. So your first tank action is going to be to taunt or flaunt, and your support will heal or buff your glass cannon, and in the worst case revive them with an apple. Once you are stable, or just start out stable due to not having a 0 HP fighter, you need to look at the opposing team and figure out who to take down first. So, do they have a tank, and can the tank taunt? If they have a taunter, start breaking their defense since you will need to pass trough them. Or you can use some special skills to go around them like Phantom Butt and attack their highest damage attacker first. There are also cases where they simply don't have a taunt tank, so they're just blitz down their attacker. Whenever your tank takes a hit, check if the break counter is going down and how many more hits you can take. Try to count how many counter and defense break attacks they are able to use and decide when to stop taunting, so your defense does not get broken fully. I would say always stop taunting with 2 remaining, don't let it fall to 1. With a low defense tank, you now have a bad attacker or an item support in most cases. Hopefully by this point, you manage to do something at least like breaking the opposing tank or taking down an attacker. Once their best attacker is down, focus on leveling up with any food you have, like disgusting cake, since the battle is already over. If you manage to fail, it's really time to start coping hard. Go down to 20% HP with all characters if you need to, before using healing items, and just risk losing in order to take down at least one fighter. Spam healing will not save you in this game, since you can run out of food, and just healing with food wastes its attack potential, so you must eat and then attack or defend. This is the worst case scenario, and hopefully you never need to cope this hard, and you won't need to if you build a good team with the right equipment. Here are the requirements for all of the endgame powers. Perfect form for attack requires a way to be full each turn, so you must reduce your consumption with clocks, or increase it with a feeder character supporting you. Entering perfect form requires no actions, but you can only enter when you are above a threshold that is always impossible to be at endlessly without items or support. Once perfectly set up, perfect form allows for the use of unlimited belly power, with no action cost or food cost by constantly entering and refreshing your stance. This also increases your base stats, and usually gives you a more powerful version of your normal attack. Next we have pills. The ultimate pill and stacking power pills is extremely strong, but slow. The good thing is that the actions of eating pills can be split between characters giving them to each other. I would say that you should only have one pill druggie on your team, so you can use the rest of your team to buff them. Buffing everyone is just not worth it, and losing 10 actions on popping some drugs is a great way to lose. Going for pills, you are able to transform a tank or a support into your main attacker, so this strategy is able to shift around roles, and this can be useful in combat too, for example counter a boss by their type. Demi-human pills work similar to the ultimate pill, but I would say their base power is lower, but they give much stronger attacks such as flying ones. This does require some knowledge in advance, since this new attack can destroy your build if it swaps damage types, so be careful of that. All flying attacks are, for example, special. Finally, we have special builds, and these are usually by character and require some setup. I will give you the GOAT example. So with Ivy, she has a special attack when she has max aggro on her. This attack just goes full berserk on someone, spending all her belly power on a massive assault. The setup requires a taunt tank, since she must increase her own aggro with her skill, and another tank will cause problems for this. Next, you need a feeder support to help fill her up, since just her eating is too slow. Another option is to stack an ultimate pill with this to instantly grant max fullness, but this will lower her speed to 0 pretty much. So you will get one chance to destroy someone, and I hope you gave her glasses. If you did not have a chance to give her glasses, start praying to every god you know that she does not miss, because she can indeed miss. For details and specifics on builds, well, I know a 2-letter channel that has a whole playlist and used every single fighter. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. I really should say that more often, or maybe not. How on earth do I have more than 10,000 subscribers? Anyway, how I look at it's like way too much. When I started, I was thinking it would be cool to get 1,000 by the end of the year. And here we are at 10 Gs. So to wrap things, I do need to explain what the coaches do. Each coach gives you a boss contract when you become their friend and go on a date with them. Eve holds the Mimi contract. This is the drug maxer scientist CEO girl, and her general theme is just buffing out of this world. Next is Kaitlyn, and she will ask you to bring her snacks and will go to the movies with you at some point. When she does, she will give you the Cora contract. Cora is the chocolate girl that brings actual sentient chocolate monsters to the fight, and then eats them for buffs and transformations. The dragon girl is Yuna, and you need to play some games with her to get a date. And when you do, she gives you the vampire demon succubus Alina's contract. She is a fat sucking vampire, pretty neat. Amara is next, and she has a requirement that you find her pipe when she loses it. It's in the black market, so you need to buy it back for her. Once you do and go on a date, she will give you Charolite's contract, the former belly queen herself. She is big and also a big deal in Vale-City. The whole first game is about getting to her level and finally beating her, so quite impressive. In this game, she can pretty much one-shot entire teams. On my channel, her video is 2 times shorter than any other, and I did not even try to be fast. She is just that powerful. Finally, I should mention what donating to the Mad Engineer actually does. It unlocks the goddess droid characters, one for each of the belly fighting aspects, and also the shop to upgrade them during the game, along with an artifact shop. The artifacts sold here should only be used on characters that have the item pro skill, since the items are so expensive. As for the droid, it is very cool and just a different way to build a character, by upgrading them directly instead of with items. Finally, after you finish a tournament, you get vouchers that can be used to get new contracts. Kits for those contracts, some overall buffs like more money per match. You should just pick what looks fun to you and not care on what's best. By default, you have everything unlocked that you need to win, so just unlock fun stuff for you. You can also buy some cool stuff in the black market, but I don't use it that often. Sometimes I buy the cheat sheet for more skill points, for example on a boss character, run just to push even further along with the ultimate food. Anyway, I really like this game and the original one too. I think the next project will be on the first Vale-City. I just need to figure out a good way to cover such a massive game, and also the time to do so. Whatever happens, I just hope you will be here to watch it.